Welcome back, Royally Quacked fans, to Royally Quacked, where I'm Royally and he's Quacked. And today's edition is on free agency for the whole NHL. And it was busy, wasn't it, Cody?
Uh, Busy.
Yeah, very busy. A lot of things happen. Um, I know controversy once again for the Kings. We'll get to that later. Um,
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before we get really going into this thing?
Um, this, as you can see from the title, 2025 free agency, all buzz, no boom. That's what it felt like this year.
Well, no boom for us.
No boom for really a lot of teams.
I
There
don't
was
know.
what, two players, top players that went somewhere else, like for free agency. So on July 1st, there was really nothing big.
True.
So
We didn't have a really big last year either. And
last year was better.
I mean, I'm talking about
Well, not Ducks wise, but
for the Kings, and yet it did pan out to be really good pickups for the Kings last year.
yeah.
So, but it was busy. A lot of things, a
Yeah.
lot of re-signings, a lot of new signings. Um, like I said, there wasn't a boom.
Yeah, no boom.
I mean, there was no superstar boom in free agency.
Yeah, no boom.
So, shall we get going?
Yeah, we can get going. Um and we got already pitch grid pod, yo. And then also Sammy said, love y'all on the Instagram live. Hi Sam, love you too.
Hey, sweetie, love you too.
So
Say
let's
hi
get
to the
going.
kids for me.
We're gonna go over each team and what they did pretty much the last week. So we're gonna start in the Atlantic Division. I'll start with the Boston Bruins, who made a lot of big I would say signings. Um, I'll do one team, and then you do one team, and that's how we can do it that way.
No.
Try to make things easier. Well,
Okay.
too bad. Um, but the Boston Bruins, they re-signed Morgan Geeky to a 6-year, $33 million contract. That comes out to $5.5 million AAV. Nice little re-signing there. They also re-signed John Beecher, not my uncle, a different John Beecher. He resigned for 1 year, 900K AAV. They also re-signed Henry Yokoharu for 3 years, 9 million, 3 million AAV. And then I would say their big signing, I guess, was Tanner Jeannot, 5 years, $17 million total for 3.4 million AAV. I'm sorry, but why is Tanner Jeannot getting 5 years and why is he getting 3.4 million AAV?
Maybe they needed some toughness.
Uh,
He- he-
I wouldn't
Other
have paid
than,
it. I would have
other than,
given him 3 years, 2 million a year, if that.
yeah. Well, they wanted him.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens with that.
I mean, good for him for getting the money, but I would not have given him that money. But
I wouldn't either.
so it was probably a good. The Kings probably dodged a bullet on that one. Um, Sean Corrali, he signed 2 years, 3.7 million total for 1.85 AAV. Alex Lyon, did he wait? Or I put that in the wrong spot? I think. Let me double check something. I think I put that in the wrong spot.
That's the goalie, right?
Yeah, I don't think he signed there. Why would he sign there? Let me double check. Sorry. I think I know where he went. And it was not there. Where are they? Where are they? Why can't I find the Saber? I thought he signed with the Sabres. And maybe I just put it in the wrong spot. Signings.
Yep, Buffalo.
Buffalo. Okay, my bad. I'll switch that real quick. Um, I'll skip that one. And they made a trade. They acquired Victor Arvidsson from Edmonton for a 2027 fifth round pick.
All right. On to the Buffalo Sabres. Obviously, spoiler, Alex Lyon signed there 2 years, a $3 million total for 1.5 AAV. Ryan McLeod re-signed 4 years, 20 million, 5 million AAV. And they traded Sam Lafferty to Chicago for a 2026 sixth round pick. I don't think that's very much for Sam Lafferty.
And he just went right back to Chicago.
Then that's the Buffalo Bills or Sabres
Buffalo
Bills.
Bills. Next up is the Detroit Red Wings. One player who I was kind of hoping the Ducks would I was hoping they would go for. Patrick Kane, he resigned for 1 year, $3 million AAV. And then Jonathan Bergen, he resigned for 1 year, 1.83 million. Simon Johansson re-signed for 2 years, 2.25 million total, and 1.125 million AAV. James Van Riemsdyk signed for 1 year, $1 million. And then Mason Appleton signed for 2 years, 5.8 million total, and that's a 2.9 million AAV. And then they made a trade. They sent over Vladimir Tarasenko to Minnesota for everyone's favorite player, future considerations.
A bag of pucks.
Yeah, fill up our soda machines.
So on to the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Brad Marchand re-signed 6 years, $3.15 million total for 5.25 million AAV. I was surprised that they gave him that much term.
Yeah.
They also re-signed Aaron Ekblad 8 years, 48.8 million for 6.1 million AAV. And then they how the mighty have fallen. Jeff Petrie signed for 1 year, $775,000.
I think he's the new like the Oliver Ekman Larson, the Nate Schmidt. He's the new I'm gonna sign there for really cheap and hopefully
Get a
win a
Stanley Cup.
win or at least build my my contract status up where he can make more. But I know he's on the older side.
He is on the older side.
So probably either Stanley Cup or to maybe get one more decent 1 year, 2 year contract after and make some money like Nate Schmidt and Ekman Larson did.
Okay. They also re-signed Tomas Nosek 1 year, but their terms were not disclosed.
Hold on, I'm looking that up. When I put that in, it wasn't official. He signed. He also did the league minimum, 775,000.
Well, I think that's a good deal for the Panthers.
Yeah.
He's a hard-nosed guy. He fights hard when he plays. So
Yep. And then the next up is the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, last week they did that really big trade for Noah Dobson. I think that was their big move for the offseason. But they signed Capo Kakinen to a 1 year, $1.15 million deal. Then they also traded Logan Mailloux to St. Louis for Zach Bolduc. And then they also sent over Caden Primo to Carolina for a 2026 seventh round pick. He was like he was the backup goalie, but I think now he's like the third string, or he was the third string. Now he's probably the backup or third string for Carolina now.
Okay, on to the Ottawa Senators. Claude Giroux re-signed 1 year, $2 million base plus 2.75 million in bonuses. Nick Cousins also re-signed 1 year, 825,000. Lars Eller signed 1 year, 1.25 million. Not a lot done by the Senators.
No, I don't know if they really needed to do a lot, and plus maybe the players that they wanted to do anything with, they were already, taken. Mom loves the new backdrop, by the way.
Oh, which one?
Your backdrop, the
Oh,
one you're on right now.
well, I had it on last week, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks,
Uh,
thanks, honey. I appreciate it.
Speaking of not making many moves,
Yeah, Tampa
uh,
Bay.
Tampa Bay, all the other ones were like very, very minor. I'm not gonna put like the minor ones on there. I just want to do the ones that are probably gonna be playing for the main teams. But Pontus Holmberg signed 2 years, $3.1 million total, and that comes out to a 1.55 AAV.
Then on to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Matthew Nyes re-signed 6 years for 46.5 million. That's 7.75 million AAV. Steven Lorentz re-signed also for 3 years for 4.05 million. 1.35 million AAV. And they also traded Matthias Maselli.
They
Traded,
acquired.
yeah, but you said from. They acquired Matthias Maselli from Utah for a conditional 2027 third round pick.
Yeah.
Upgrades to the 2029 second round pick if Maselli hits 51 points plus and Toronto makes the playoffs. Love those complicated trades.
Yeah. But the Matthew Nyes re-signing, that was a great deal for I would say for Toronto, because I heard he was supposed to be in the 8 to 8.5, maybe 9 million AAV. So good for getting him pretty low, at a good deal and everything. And now that you know, uh, and we should probably add that here, even though we could talk about it later too. They also acquired Nick Waugh?
Yeah,
No,
Nick Raw.
Nick Waugh from Vegas in exchange for Marner to do a sign and trade. So pretty much the Maple Leafs signed Marner to an 8 year, $96 million contract. And then as soon as he signed it, they traded Nick Waugh for Marner. So Marner goes to Vegas, Nick Waugh goes to Toronto as part of the sign and trade.
That was basically get something for nothing.
Yeah, I think that was to help Vegas stay under the cap. Because if he would have gone to the market and he would have gone to Vegas, if he wanted the 96 million, it would have come out to 13.7 million AAV instead of the 12 million AAV.
Ah,
So, yeah. Next up is who I think one of the people who I think won the off season so far.
I would
Um,
say most definitely won the off
especially with
season.
honestly, this first move I think was their best move. Was signing Logan Stakeoven to an 8 year extension worth $48 million total. I think it was 6.1 AAV, I believe, 6 million AAV. But what a great deal. Because Logan Stakeoven, he's worth 6 million now. But I think he should have been making $7-8 million AAV in my opinion.
And
So
just another side note, we are now in the Metropolitan Division.
oh yeah, sorry, Metro Division. My
That's all
bad.
right. No worries.
But I think that extension was probably the one of the best moves they did. And then
I like Stankoven.
I
He's a
do
player.
too.
He just
I do
does
too.
everything well. He's
Hmm.
young.
Yeah.
They gave him term. That's why they got the deal. He got 8 years.
Yeah. And he's only 22, was it 22? 21,
Yeah.
22. So
Yeah.
they also signed Mike Riley to a 1 year, $1.1 million total AAV. Nikolai Ehlers, the big person on the free agent market because Marner was not available on July 1st. He took a few days, but he signed a 6-year, $51 million total contract. And that comes out to 8.5 million AAV. And like we said earlier, they also acquired Caden Primo from Montreal for a 2026 seventh round pick. And then probably one of their other big moves, they sent over Scott Morrow, a 2026 conditional first round pick, a 2026 second round pick to the New York Rangers in exchange for Keandre Miller. And that was also a sign and trade deal. And he got 8 years, $60 million, and that comes out to $7.5 million AAV. And I think this was probably one of their other great moves because he was struggling in New York and everything, but I think he'll fit into Rob Brandamore's system, and I think he'll flourish there. And I guess, and I think
I,
as I predicted last week, Nikolai Ehlers was going to Carolina. I believe I said that on the pod last week.
I think you did.
And like I said, as much as I wanted him to be
So
a
did
Duck,
I.
I wanted him to be a Duck, but I think this was probably the best place for him to go to, in my honest opinion. Like I said, we're hockey fans first. Like I said, I wanted him to be a Duck. I was praying he was going to be a Duck, but obviously, I think this was the right move for him, Nikolai Ehlers. So I don't blame him one bit. I wasn't even mad that I would have been more mad if he would have went to Washington or I think there was another team that was in the hunt too. But yep, that's it for like not Panthers. I almost did the same thing as you. The Hurricanes.
Well, they might become the new Panthers. Who knows? With those
Yeah,
moves,
true.
they could be definitely a Stanley Cup contender for sure, no
Yeah.
doubt. Columbus Blue Jackets. Dante Fabro re-signed 4 years, 16.5 million, 4.125 million AAV. Ivan Provorov re-signed 7 years, 59.5 million, 8.5 million AAV. And Isaac Lundstrom, ex Mighty Duck, signed 2 years, 2.6 million total for 1.3 million AAV. And Provorov and Gavrikov were the two big defenders
Mm-hmm.
that were on the free agent market. I'm still flabbergasted at Gavrikov's contract, which we'll be
Well,
talking about just in a few minutes.
yeah,
So I'll leave that up in the air
yeah,
and let Cody go right to the New Jersey Devils.
yeah. I wish Isaac Lundstrom the best of luck in Columbus and stuff like that. I always loved the way he played. I just didn't think he was probably the right fit for us from now on. But like I said, former first round pick. You know, he always played his hardest. So like I said, I wish Lundstrom the best in Columbus. I hope he thrives there. Let's just put it that way. But next up with the New Jersey Devils, Connor Brown signed 4 years, $12 million total for 3 million AAV. And then Jake Allen re-signed for 5 years, $9 million. And that comes out to 1.8 million AAV. And then Evgeny Dadanov, former Duck, people would say. That's a joke. But he signed for 1 year, $1 million. Cody Glass re-signed for 2 years, $5 million, 2.5 million AAV. And then they made a trade. The New Jersey Devils acquired Thomas Bortolo from the San Jose Sharks for Shane Bowers. And that's it for the Devils.
Yeah, Connor Brown was from Edmonton, right?
He was from Edmonton.
Edmonton had a lot of people leave. They got rid of Arvidsson. They got rid of Brown. There's more to
Kane.
come on that. Yeah, there's more to come.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the New York Islanders. Alexander Romanov re-signed 8 years, 50 million, 6.25 million AAV. Jonathan Drouin signed 2 years, 8 million, 4 million AAV. They re-signed Tony DeAngelo, 1 year, 1.75 million. I think that's a deal for Tony DeAngelo. I think he's a
Mm-hmm.
good player.
Yeah.
Simon Holstrom re-signed 2 years, 7.25 million total, 3.625 million AAV. And ex-King backup goalie David Riddick signed 1 year, 1 million AAV. Emil Heineman re-signed 2 years, 2.2 million, 1.1 million AAV, and that's the move so far by the New York Islanders.
Yeah, Emil Heineman was part of that Noah Dobson trade. So next up is the New York Rangers. Will Cooley, who was, I know, one of the top people to probably get offer sheeted, but he can't get offer sheeted anymore because he resigned for 2 years, 7.8 million total for 3.9 AAV. And then, as my dad was talking about earlier, Vladislav Gavrikov. God, I just like his name, Vladislav Gavrikov.
Yeah.
Really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? He signed for, to be honest, this was a shocking deal for me.
Yeah, so
7 years,
exactly.
7 years, 49 million total, 7 million AAV. I was expecting him to get like
8
eight
or
and a half.
9.
Yeah,
And
eight.
and it makes me wonder, do the Kings not offer him term, or
I know there was
do they
more.
offer?
There was more to his. Maybe they weren't willing to give him like no move clauses because that could be a big thing too.
Well, the other thing that I heard on Locked On Kings, and that Eddie Garcia shared on his podcast, is that they're they have Panarin there,
Yeah,
and he played with Panarin in Columbus,
Shesterkin
and he played with Jashurkin in the KHL, and there's a very big Russian uh,
community.
community there. So maybe that's why he signed there. I mean, he was definitely the Kings' best defender last year.
Yeah,
I so wanted to see him stay, but it's all not always about money, is it? So
Nope.
obviously, I don't think it was, because I think the offer the Kings would have given him would have been more.
Yeah.
But we'll see what's going to happen. How this is all going to play out.
Yep.
So
And then they also signed Taylor Radish 2 years, 3 million AAV, or sorry, 3 million total, 1.5 AAV. And then, as I said earlier, they made the trade. The New York Rangers acquired defenseman Scott Morrow, a conditional 2026 first round pick, and a 2026 second round pick in exchange for Keandre Miller.
wow. Now we go to the Philadelphia Flyers. They already made their big move with the trade we shared last week, getting Trevor Zegers from the
Oh yeah,
from.
just open my wound, why don't you?
Sorry, I'm still shocked about that whole thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think there was some. Yeah, maybe he asked for that trade. I just can't figure that out, why they would trade him otherwise. Maybe he asked for the trade because they weren't going to play him. What I did read about this, Cody, on that trade, just not to reiterate something. Um, but you have, who's the number one center on the Ducks?
Carlson.
Who's the number two center?
I would have put Zegers there.
They said McTavish was the number two. And
I would
why
have
were you?
moved, I would have moved McTavish to the wing. I feel like he could have been a better wing than Zegers.
Okay, so well, obviously that's not what was they were thinking. They were thinking, you know, paying a third line center over $5 million a year.
They already, I mean, they've been doing that almost.
I know, but
Stro-
it's not.
Strom's paying is 5. They just signed somebody else that and stuff like that. He's technically a center.
That's what I had read, that they didn't want to do that anymore. So that's, so they traded him. I just still think it was stupid.
Yeah,
Uh,
agreed.
Dan Vladar signed 2 years, 6.7 million, 3.35
We are
million.
with the Philadelphia Flyers now, by the way.
Yeah. Noah Jolson
Yeah.
signed 1 year, 900,000, and Christian Dvorak signed 1 year, 5.4 million.
Yeah, that one was a. I'm surprised he got that much, but it's only 1 year. Not bad. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they signed Justin Brazeau, 2 years, $3 million, 1.5 AAV. And then Philip Tomasino signed 1 year, 1.75 million. Connor Dewar, he signed 1 year, 1.1 million. Anthony Mantha went there for 1 year, $2.5 million total. And then they also made a trade. They traded Alex Nedeljkovic to the San Jose Sharks for a 2028 third round pick. I'm just waiting for the day we see a 2030 draft pick traded.
It's
It's gonna be weird.
not too far in the future, bud.
Yeah.
Even though we're only in 25. Washington Capitals, Martin Ferrar
Farivari.
Farivari re-signed 7 years, 42 million, 6 million AAV, and Anthony Beauvillier
No,
signed a two.
Bavillier.
Beauvillier signed a 2 year, 5.5 million total, 2.75 AAV. And now
Gotta
we're
love,
gonna
gotta
what?
love hockey names.
Yeah, we should get mom in on that one when we do that podcast.
All right. And then next up, we are in the Central. We're gonna start with the Chicago Blackhawks. They didn't make any like big signings, but they did make two trades. They acquired Sam Lafferty again from Buffalo for a 2026 six-round pick, and they also the Vancouver Canucks acquired Ilya Safanov. Savanov.
Safanov,
Savanov.
Safanov.
I don't know why it's coming weird off my tongue. For again, everyone's favorite player, Chicago Blackhawks future considerations. And mom said, I don't think so.
Come on, you can be embarrassed with me. On to the Colorado Avalanche. Sam Belinsky resigned 1 year, 1.4 million. Parker Kelly resigned 4 years, 6.8 million, 1.7 million AAV. And Brent Burns signed 1 year, 1 million AAV plus 3 million in performance bonuses. That's a great pickup. I know he's like 40,
Yeah,
but he can still play.
he can. I think that might be a good fit for him there. So, and then next up, we got the Dallas Stars. They signed Radek Faksa to a 3 years, $6 million deal worth 2 million AAV. And then they hired a new coach. Glenn Gulletson is now the new head coach of the Dallas Stars again. He was the Dallas Stars coach, and I believe in 2013, 2012, I think through 2012 to 2014. He was only there for 2 years. So, yeah,
I'm
he's
still
back.
shocked they got rid of
Pete
yeah,
DeBoer.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Leads them to the what conference finals? Like what
3 years in a row.
3 years in a row, right?
I think it was how he handled everything was what
Yeah,
got him fired.
yeah. He was not the kindest guy to the players.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like how he treated Ottinger. So
That was the big one, I think.
yeah,
Onto the Minnesota Wild. Nico Sturm signed 2 years, 4 million, 2 million AAV. And they acquired Vladimir Tarasenko from Detroit for future considerations. And then Cody had shared that trade earlier.
yeah. I thought they made another trade or signing. I guess everything was just more minor. Yeah, everything was just minor trade or pickups.
Well, they have some pretty good talent on the Minnesota
Yeah.
Wild.
All right, and then next up we got the Nashville Predators. Nicholas Haig re-signed 4 years, $22 million, 5.5 AAV. Nick Perbix signed 2 years, $5.5 million total for 2.75 million AAV. And then they acquired Nicholas Haig from the Vegas Golden Knights for Jeremy Lazon and Colton Sissons. I know there's more to that trade. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Trades. Let's see. I believe they retained. Yeah, they retained on Colton Sissons' contract. That's what they did.
Okay. On to,
Yeah, go ahead.
on to St. Louis Blues. Joel Hofer re-signed 2 years, 6.8 million, 3.4 million AAV. He's the backup goalie to Bennington.
Yep.
Nick Bustad signed 2 years, 3.5 million, 1.75 AAV. P.S. Suter signed 2 years, 8 million, 4 million AAV. And then the trade Cody talked about earlier acquired Logan Malo from Montreal for Zach Bolduc. The Blues have placed defenseman Nick Leddy on standard waivers.
I believe he got picked up. Who did he get picked up? We're on the Blues?
Yeah, well, we can tell them in a minute. You go ahead and I'll look it up.
Okay. The Utah Hockey Club, they made a lot of big moves. Nate Schmidt signed 3 years, $10.5 million for $3.5 million AAV. Brandon Tanev, 3 years, $7.5 million total, $2.5 million AAV. Vitek Vanacek signed 1 year, $1.5 million. Scott Prunovich, 1 year, terms not disclosed. I can look that up in a second. Kyler Yamamoto signed 1 year, $775K. They also traded Matthias Maselli to Toronto for a conditional 2027 third round pick. And the condition is it upgrades to a 2029 second if Toronto makes playoffs and Maselli has 51 or more points.
I think he signed with the San Jose Sharks.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah. Are we on Utah now?
I just did Utah.
Okay, so Winnipeg Jets. I didn't even know Tanner Pearson signed 1 year, $1 million. Cole Kopika signed 1 year, $1 million.
Kopik.
Gustav Nyquist signed 1 year, $3.25 million.
Sorry, Perunovich was a 775,000. Okay, sorry, it didn't say earlier. And you already finished the Jets?
I did.
All right, and then we're gonna skip our teams. Did we say Utah Hockey Club? Oh, we did put Utah Hockey Club. It is the Mammoth. That is right. Thanks, Mom. I said Utah Hockey Club, and it was a Utah Mammoth. It's something I got to get used to saying. But yeah, we're gonna skip the Ducks and Kings. We're gonna save those teams for last. So next up, I'm gonna do the Calgary Flames, and with the Pacific Division, they re-signed Kevin Ball 6 years, $3.1 million deal that comes out to 5.35 million AAV, and they also re-signed Morgan Frost 2 years, $8.75 million total, and that comes out to 4.375 million AAV.
Okay, on to the hated ones, the Edmonton Oilers. Kasperi Kapanen re-signed 1 year, $1.3 million. And they re-signed Evan Bouchard. He was the king killer in the playoffs last year. 4 years, $42 million, $10.5 million AAV. They re-signed? I think they signed Mangiapane. He was not with them before, right?
Yeah, he signed there. I don't know why it said re-sign.
2 years, $7.2 million, $3.6 million AAV. They needed to do something. They lost a lot. Curtis Lazar signed 1 year, $775,000, and the trade we talked about earlier, sending ex-King Victor Arvidsson to Boston for a 2027 fifth-round pick.
Yep. And then the San Jose Sharks, they re-signed William Eklund 3 years, $16.8 million total. That comes up to 5.6 AAV. John Kleinberg, Ducks legend, signed 1 year, $4 million. Dmitry Orlov signed 2 years, $13 million for $6.5 million AAV. And then the trade we talked about earlier, they acquired goalie Alex Nedeljkovic from Pittsburgh for a 2028 third-round pick. And then you said they also
Nick Leddy.
they picked up Nick Leddy from waivers.
So, on to the Seattle Kraken. Ryan Lindgren signed 4 years, 18 million total for 4.5 million AAV. That was a good pickup for them.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Murray signed 1 year, 1 million. He's still around, huh?
He's still around.
And then Jake O'Brien signs a 3-year ELC. He was their draft pick, right?
Yeah, Jacob Ryan, he was the draft pick. Yeah, he was the one that he wasn't at the draft. He was at the farm with his family.
Yes.
And then next up, we got the Vancouver Canucks, who probably spent the most money on July 1st. They re-signed Brock Besser, 7 years, $50.75 million deal and that comes out to 7.25 AAV.
Yeah, I think he was expected to get more than that. I was shocked he did that.
I was shocked. Everyone was shocked that he did that. Connor Garland re-signed 6 years, $36 million total for $6 million AAV. Thatcher Demko re-signed 3 years, $25.5 million. That comes out to $8.5 million AAV. I'm surprised he got that much. I'm sorry, but he's too injury prone.
He's been so injury prone. I'm shocked that they did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that he wouldn't be worth it if he's healthy. He would be.
Yeah.
He's an elite goalie, but I'm shocked they did that.
Yeah. And then again, the Vancouver Canucks acquired Ilya Safonov from the Chicago Blackhawks for
Safonov.
whatever.
That sounds better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's right, but it sounds better.
For future considerations. And then you get the hated ones.
The most hated ones, not just the hated one, the most hated ones. The one we get in trouble with mom.
Mm-hmm.
with how we never mind. I'll just leave that one alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble again. So you heard about the trade, Mitch Marner. He re-signed 8 years, 96 million, 12 million AAV. The trade obviously for Nicholas Raw. They traded defenseman Nicholas Haig to Nashville for Jeremy Lauzon and Colton Sissons. And then Caden Korzak re-signed 4 years, 13 million, 3.25 million. As my history teacher, Mr. Sharp, used to say, the rich get richer and the poor have kids. And Vegas Golden Knights are definitely proof of that.
Yeah. So all right, I'll go. I'll do the Ducks now.
Okay.
The Ducks re-signed Ville Husso, 2 years, $4.4 million total for 2.2 million AAV. I really like this re-signing. I don't know if I felt like that was a little too much for Ville Husso, but I did like the 4 games he was in for the Anaheim Ducks. I thought he played very well, and everything. But we did need a third goalie just in case if something happens. And then because Gibson's gone, we got Peter Mrazek, and he's on the older side, I believe, too. But it's always good to have a third goalie, and then I think Ville Husso's going to start in San Diego, I believe so. And then next up is I would say the biggest move the Ducks made, actually the only really move the Ducks made other than Husso, was they signed Mikael Granlund to a 3-year deal worth $21 million, and that comes out to $7 million AAV.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I feel like this was a great pickup. I think it was an overpayment, but being a California team with the high tax state, we were a bottom 10 team again. Sometimes you got to overpay to get certain players, like we did with Killorn and now Granlund. But I think Granlund's going to be a great pickup. He's going to be a great middle six player for the Ducks. I know why are you saying you know middle six for 7 million. I'm like, because remember the kappa is going up, so the 7 million isn't going to hurt the Ducks right now. That's the big thing right now. The Ducks still got plenty of cap space. We're going to go over the league wide cap space as soon as we're done with talk about our teams. But like I said, right now I think the Ducks are completely fine. We still do need another top six player, a winger. And since all the big players are gone on the free agency market, so I think we're going to be hopefully seeing a trade. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, I hope so. A big trade for the Ducks. So that's what I'm expecting. And then the Ducks officially did sign. Where are my notes? They officially signed the assistant coaches. They announced on July 1st that Jay Woodcroft, Ryan McGill, and Andrew Brewer as assistant coaches. And like I said, we also got the head coach, Joel Quenville. Woodcroft, McGill, and Brewer will join Tim Army, who's one of the other assistant coaches, Peter Budai as the goaltending coach, Austin Violet was the video coordinator. In addition, the San Diego Gulls have named Dave Manson and Michael Babcock as assistant coaches for the Gulls. And you're wondering, wow, those last names sound familiar. Well, yes. Michael Babcock is oh god, what's his first name? Babcock. What's the coach's name? First name? Mike? Is it Mike Babcock?
I can't remember.
I'm drawing a blank. The one that he was in Columbus for like 2 weeks and then got fired.
Yeah, he's the ex-Duck coach.
Yeah. His son is now the assistant coach for San Diego, and then Dave Manson, his son is Josh Manson. So, kind of Ducks legends' sons are coming to help, or father son. Josh Manson's dad and Babcock's son is going to help be assistant coaches in San Diego. There we go. But Woodcroft is going to run the power play and offense, so I'm really looking forward to that. McGill, he is going to be the new penalty kill and defensive coach. If you want to know a couple things, he was New Jersey Devils last couple years. They had an 82.7% penalty kill this last year. That was second in the league. And I believe the year before that, it was an 82.6. Oh, that was in 22, 23. And that was fourth in the league. So I'm praying that our special teams gets a lot better. So I'm really looking forward to these hirings. I think that's really going to help. And I think that is really it. Like big news on the Ducks front right now.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to the Kings. Ken Holland, the new GM, he made some moves. He did re-sign Andrei Kuzmenko, which I think just about anybody and everybody I've heard talk about it said it would be a great move for us to do it. We signed him for a 1-year, $4.3 million contract. And for him, it's his chance to prove himself for a full season with the Kings, because he obviously played way better with the Kings than he did any of the other teams he played with last year, because I think he'd been traded twice already. And we'll see what that happens. I mean, he definitely made the power play potent again. So hopefully he'll keep up that. Next, the Kings signed Joel Armia. He signed for 2 years, 5 million, 2.5 million. Very good defensive forward or center. Um, he's definitely going to make the fourth line better. Because our fourth line, obviously, Hiller didn't have any confidence in him. They hardly played a lot of those games against the Oilers in the first round last year. So that's one place they're trying to definitely get better at. And since we lost Vladislav Gavrikov, and then we traded Jordan Spence, which we talked about last week, we needed some defensive help because we don't have anything in the pipeline that's ready to play in the NHL. So we picked up Cody Ceci. He signed for 4 years, 18 million, 4.5 million AAV. That's probably the biggest controversial signing that Ken Holland had. A lot of people are thinking he a little too much term and a little too much money on both sides. But remember, we were saying the same thing about Joel Edmondson last year, and look how well he played for us. So hopefully Cody Ceci is going to prove to everyone that Ken Holland isn't crazy. The other signing was an ex-Duck, Brian Dumoulin, signed for 3 years, 12 million, 4 million AAV. I like that pickup. I like the way Dumoulin played for the Ducks last year. I think he'll be a nice pickup. He'll be. I think they'll be the third pair. They'll be playing together, Dumoulin and Cece. Then they also picked up a backup goalkeeper, Anton Forsberg, signed 2 years, 4.5 million, 2.25 million AAV. That's like more than double what we paid Riddick last year. So hopefully he's going to be that much better than Riddick. I can't say that I totally believe that. Um, I saved the strangest for last.
Hold on before you start. Let me get my barf bag first, please.
Well,
Oh,
you and I, you know who hates him?
Eddie.
Eddie Garcia hates Corey Perry. I mean, he talked about him quite a bit on his podcast, which I
I'm
had
not
a
ready.
big grin on my face about it because, you know, Kings fans have hated him for years now. And he's become a king. And it's really I can see his value. I saw his value. He scored 10 goals in Stanley Cup playoffs last year, really being more of a fourth line player than anything else. And he's that guy who irritates the crap out of everybody. And what does that lead to? Penalties. And you get more penalty against the other teams. But he signed for 1 year, 2 million with another, I think, 2 million in performance bonuses.
I'm not ready for this.
So we got to see how this is all going to play out. I mean, is he going to take the ice and get booed at crypto.com? I know he's probably going to get booed at Anaheim now.
I speak for every Anaheim fan right now. I'm sick to my stomach. But and it's funny because like everyone's making jokes and this is what mom said. So the Kings have a good chance of beating the Oilers, but not winning the Stanley Cup. So I guess you
you,
can
you know,
pencil in the Kings are going to the Stanley Cup this next year, but
and they
they're
just,
gonna lose.
I'll tell you what, if that does happen, I'll take that's better than this year and better than the last 4 years,
Well, yeah,
right?
you guys haven't won a series since you won it in 14.
I know. I
So
know you still
my
have that thing
stomach
that
still hurts just talking about this.
so Royally Quacked fans. I mean, obviously we got the Duck fans and the King fans. How do you feel about Corey Perry becoming a king?
So I got two feelings for this. It's a love hate for this. Like I hate that he's a king. I hate it. Because like I said, I was able to deal with him going to the Oilers. I was
Ooh.
able to deal with him going to Dallas. But I don't know. It's just seeing him in the silver and black. It just has me sick to my stomach. But at the same time, I love it just because now Kings fans for so many years hated this man as a Duck, as a Star, as a Oiler for the last 2 years, and now you have to cheer for Corey Perry, which
Yeah.
has me cracking up. And like I said, I know you never you you didn't like Corey Perry when he was in the Ducks. I know, like you were annoyed with him more because of his antics. But
Yes.
now, but you always
Taking taking was it Kopitar stick and taking it into taking it off the ice?
yeah, my favorite was when he squirted the water bottle into Jeff Carter's glove on the
Yes.
bench right there. But
The
anyways, but you always did say Corey Perry is one of those players where you hate playing against him, but you love the guy when he's on your team. And now Kings fans for so many years, they were like, I hate this guy. I hate this guy. And now he's on your team and you're like, crap. So it's like, it's like you hated this person for so long. And now you're like, wow, I see why everyone loves this guy. And now Kings fans have to love Corey
I
Perry now.
I don't know if we have to love him. I'm not gonna say that.
Well, if he gets
I
you to the
mean,
Stanley Cup final, you're gonna love him.
well, he'd be part of a team that does that. I don't think he'd be the key thing, but you just
Oh no, there's a common denominator. Corey Perry was on the Stars, went to the Stanley Cup final. The Canadians went to the Stanley Cup final. Tampa Bay went to the Stanley Cup final. The Oilers, back-to-back years, Stanley Cup. I mean, there's a common denominator.
so
But
what
this
you're
still makes me
saying
sick
is
to my stomach.
he should have asked for $200 million a year because he at least get to the Stanley Cup.
Exactly. If I'm able, if betting was legal for me to put, hey, the Kings are going to the Stanley Cup final, I would put that bet in right now. I
I
mean, the
I
odds are going to be crazy,
I gotta
but if it happens, I am a rich man.
I gotta tell you, I kind of feel like Eddie does. He's really hard to cheer for, but if he does help us get better, I mean, I'm gonna live with it.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be my favorite player ever. There's
Mom says he is I think you meant a pest. I think that's what she meant. Um,
a press.
that's what she put.
Yeah, it's probably pest.
Didn't mean that. Yeah, I think she meant pest. But
Yeah,
so let's go over all the salary. Like what teams have still available in cap space. So as of right now, the Ducks have the most salary cap available at just under $29 million. I mean, but we still got to sign McTavish. We still got to sign Dostal. Those are the two big ones. So I'm hoping we can re-sign both of them soon. I know Verbeek came out and said that he's working on it right now. The San Jose Sharks have 23.89 million available. Chicago has 22.31. Columbus has 20.52. The Winnipeg Jets have $19.9 million left. So I mean, they could probably make a big move if they really wanted to.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
are you on Puckpedia?
I'm on Puckpedia. Yeah.
Yeah, Penguins, 15.82 million.
Mm-hmm.
Flames, 15.41 million. Um,
Sabres.
Sabres, 13.64 million.
So, like I said,
Uh,
there's a lot of teams that have $10+ million available, but the interesting fact is the teams at the very top of the list. Let's do there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that have under $1 million of cap space left. Let's talk about those ones. Vancouver, they have 795K of calories uh, salary
Cap.
cap left. The Rangers 778,000. The Blues 625,000. And then the next team, that the only team left that's in the positive is the Oilers with $176,000. And now you want to go over the teams that are
In the
under
red.
in the red.
Yeah, they're in the red. Stars are 1.79 million in the red. Panthers 2.95 million in the red. Canadians minus 4.45 million, and the Golden Knights 6.81 million. Oh my gosh.
But and I think we've forgot to mention this. I believe I don't know if it's like official, but Alex Pietrangelo is not coming back this next um
Yeah,
this season.
he's dealing with injuries.
He's dealing with injuries and everything, so he's for sure not playing in this next season. So that cap space is going to be made available, and I believe he's making 8.8 million AAV this year and next year. This coming up season and the year after.
So
But
they'll be under when they.
yeah, they'll be under officially when the season starts. But I believe he also came out and said that he's probably retiring. I believe because he doesn't know if his body's going to be able to come back and be able to play. And you also got Eichel, who needs to resign. He's making 10 million. He's definitely going to be making more than 10 million when he resigns. And then they got Riley Smith, Brandon Saad, Dorofeyev, and Colton Sissons. They're all on their last year of their deals. Jeremy Lazon and Ben Hutton, last year of deals. And that's really it for like players that are like on their last year of their contracts for Vegas. But I, you know what, I'm gonna do the Dallas Stars a favor here. Just send over, you know, Jason Robertson. Will send you future considerations, and then you'll be above the cap space. I think that. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
hate that move. You guys get out of cap hell, and we help you with that. You don't take anyone back, so you don't have to worry about cap space, and we just take, we'll give you a bag of pucks for Jason Robertson. I think that's a good deal.
Kings fans, we have 6.77 million. So we could make a small trade and get Jason Robertson on our team too.
Yeah, but
There's a
no,
possibility of trades happening for both
I
teams. Still,
I have a feeling that's all the. I feel like all the big, obviously, all the big signings are already gone, but now I have a feeling, what should we call it? All we're gonna really see for the big moves now is all gonna be trades now from now on. This is where we're gonna start getting to as what we call the boring part of the hockey season, of off season.
we just had development camp though,
Yeah, well,
and then going, July and August. The rest of July and August are going to be kind of quiet.
yeah,
And then we go into September when we're going to have the rookie face off, and
yeah.
that's only going to be 3 teams, I think, right?
Is
Or
it 3
less.
or 4?
It's less teams than it's been in the past.
Yeah.
I can't.
So off of cap hit alone, this is the top players that are available, and this is just off of like their cap hit from last year. Mark-Edward Vlasic is available because he got bought out. Robbie Fabry, former Duck. Alec Martinez, but he's retiring. TJ Brody, he just got bought out. David Savard, retired. Jeff Skinner is available. Jack Roslovic available. Matt Grizzlick still available. Luke Cunnin, Jan Ruda, and Brock McGinn. Those are the top 11 available right now. So, like I said, as it's slim pickings out there. I mean, Pat Maroon is number 17 on the list, and he's retiring. Of course, you have two players in the top 5 that are already retired.
Yeah, the rookie faceoff. I think it's going to be in Anaheim, right?
Yeah,
And I think it's the Kings, the Ducks, and the Sharks.
I believe that is right. Yes.
At Great Park Ice. We'll see.
Yeah.
What happens with that? We'll share more with that as it comes out, because it's definitely changing, because it's getting kind of costly, because the Rockies were part of it. I mean, the Avalanche. I mean,
I was like,
were
wait,
part.
what?
Colorado Avalanche was part of it, and Seattle was part of it.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be doing their own things. So we'll see what happens with that. That's always a fun part, because you get to see all the young kids play
Yeah.
again. I mean, development can't have had a little bit of that. And the big one of the big stories for the Kings might be, how good is Liam Greentree? Is he a possibility to make the NHL roster next year? I think definitely he'll be, if not be playing in the AHL. But there's a lot of buzz that he can make the NHL roster next year. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, that's like with right now with the Ducks and Beckett Seneca too. They're saying he'll probably be doing, he might do the 9 games with the Ducks, and then we can probably go from there. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to as well.
Yeah. Well,
Next week we're gonna go over the draft. That happened last weekend. Go over all of our draft picks, and something to be excited for the future for both teams.
yeah, a little more in depth than the one we had last week, with the players, maybe more information.
Well, we only knew one player from each team
Yeah,
at that
that's true.
point.
We there was trades.
Yeah,
Kings always trade down and get 2 picks for one. They ended up getting a lot of picks, and I think
yeah,
they're pretty happy with what they got. So, and of
yeah.
course, the Ducks got Lightning McQueen's little brother, and he'll
Cousin,
be, was it his cousin?
his cousin. Yeah,
So,
Kachow.
ka-chow. There you go. But
But no, yeah, we're gonna go over all the draft picks next week. That's the plan, and then after that, we're praying that the Ducks and Kings make more moves. Pretty much, Jason Robertson's a Duck. That's what we're praying
or a
for.
king.
Nope, Duck. You have the cap space. We got plenty of cap space for you.
Are we going to do the Daffy Duck Bugs
You
Bunny
know what?
thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Duck season, rabbit
Duck season.
season.
It's duck season now. Okay, you guys have had your seasons. You've had your chance. It's the Ducks' turn now.
No.
Yes. Um. But on that, you have anything else before we get out of here?
I don't. We got to bring back the trivia question thing.
Oh, that's true. We do, don't we?
Yeah, I think we're probably not going to scramble for that today, guys, but we'll try to do it next week.
Yeah.
One of us will ask the other one a trivia question. Hopefully,
Or
you guys
send
can
us
help
trivia
us out.
questions.
Yeah, we'd love make some trivia questions, so you can maybe stump the Royally Quacked team.
Yep. But anything else before we get out of here? Are you frozen? Yeah, you're frozen.
I'm back.
Nope, you're frozen. Oh, there
Well,
you are.
I can see me. I'm moving.
Well, of course you can see you, but you were frozen for a good like 10 seconds. So, um, so I didn't hear you. You have anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Royally Quacked, the not so free agent frenzy as everyone thought, but we hope you had as much fun as we did. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe, download, and rate us on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to catch all our content, go to YouTube or Twitch to watch it, and follow us on all social media for updates and everything. And I did come out with those new graphics for when we acquire a player. So let me know if you like it by liking the picture. I'd appreciate that. I worked hard on those. And don't forget to join our Discord. I did update the link so that way it's official. Like, it should not expire. If it does, please let me know and I'll fix that. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube. Again, we didn't hit the 50 subscriber mark as I wanted to. So hopefully by the end of July, help us get to 55 subscribers. That's, I believe, only 48 right now. So help us get 7 more subscribers by the end of the month. We'd really appreciate that.
Tell your friends.
Yep, or help us get to 10. Help us either get to 55 subscribers or 10 Twitch followers. We would really appreciate that. And don't forget to check out Elite Sports and Entertainment Network for even more sports talk and deep dives and the daily afternoon show. And just remember, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, stay royal and stay quack, and let's go Ducks.
Go Kings, go.
We'll see you next week.
A father and son, a bond so strong, talking hockey all day long. Royally Quacked, their podcast show, sharing stories, highs and lows. From the Kings to the Ducks they go, shout and go Kings.